So just relax and enjoy yourself.
Can I make a request if you don't?
Sure, absolutely.
When you ask me that question, do you care to tell me what number it is? 'Cause
Yes.
I got notes.
Yeah.
And if I don't look at my notes, I'll
Yeah.
go off on
Yeah.
all kind of different stuff, so I want to be able to answer your question.
We will tell you what question number it is
Okay.
when we
All
ask
right.
it. Yes. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you,
All
sir.
right, Mr. Safety.
Well, my first question is, how do you like Crossville, Cumberland County weather?
It's just like Scott County weather that I come through here with.
Well, my question for you is number one.
Okay.
Describe all experience you have had in public education and how such experience has specifically prepared you for this position.
Okay, sir. I started out in Scott County. I've been a substitute. I've been a substitute bus driver. I've been a bus driver, a teacher, a coach, an athletic director, a school admin, assistant principal, and central office where I done federal programs and the general purpose budget. While I was there, I was also assistant director at Scott County Schools at that time. I believe many of these different jobs have gave me a perspective on people, on students, have allowed me to work together with these people to produce different types of, forgot my word there I'm hunting for. I'll just go through the things because I got a little messed up there, sorry. As a central office admin, I worked through budgets, personnel, I've learned about politics out there, central office advisory people, I've dealt with those. As a school admin, I learned how all those parts work together. How with school admin, how it works with your Board of Education, how school admin works with your central office staff. As a coach and athletic director, I mean, you're dealing with everything. You're dealing with parents, students. Bus drivers, where you really learn there's a lot of perspective on how the school system works. Because those bus drivers and support staff people will tell you how they feel. They'll tell you exactly how they feel. And you learn from them stuff that your public expect, is what I think. If you want me to elaborate some more, I probably can, but I think I answered the question.
You wouldn't be implying that there was politics in Scott County Schools.
I didn't say that. I said I saw some
words in your mouth. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Ms. Paris.
Mr. Owens, I am going to ask you a question number 2 on your chart. What are the most important characteristics a director of schools should possess?
I think there's 3. Number 1 is integrity. Know what you mean what you say, and be transparent. I think number 2 is perspective. Know what and who matters in every situation. Most of the time, people that are controlling and are in the conversation are not really the people that matter. We got to realize why we're here doing all this, and that's for students. When I was at the central office before, I spent 3 years out there, and then I went back to teaching because I lost perspective. And that perspective is you have to find why you do this. And why most people do this is because of kids. That's why I went back. I've spent 5 years back at the high school teaching. And I think I'm ready to help those kids some more and help the kids of Cumberland County this time. I've helped the kids of Scott County. I think I can help the kids of Cumberland County because I think they're very, very similar, okay? And the last one would be adaptability. I'm willing to change. I'm willing to see other viewpoints on stuff. I mean, I'm not the smartest person in the room. I know that. My job is to surround myself with smarter people who give me ideals, and we discuss those ideals, and we come out with what's best for those students. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Hale.
Okay, thank you. My first question is question number 8. How would you develop and maintain a high morale among district employees?
All right, when people feel they're part of a team, I believe you get them, okay? If they're comfortable, they're valued and respected, then you have that high morale. The most important part of that high morale is your school level admin. How your school level admins set the morale in their school. And when this happens, it's not only your teachers that feel that high morale, it's your students start to feel that high morale. And that's when they start liking where they're at, they like what there's going on, and that's when your learning comes. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I follow up on a question?
Yes.
Do you feel like you have set an example in your daily work in the school system doing that?
Yes, sir, I do. Yes, sir, I do, every day. I can actually give you a little story if you would like.
Yes, but remember the
All right, I remember the time. When I first went back to the high school from the central office, I had the opportunity then, I had a special needs student in our CDC program that was in my class. It was interesting, okay? And as we've grown over the past 2 to 3 years, he's now 21, okay? Next year will be his last year in school. We have worked together. We do different stuff when he comes in. I'm teaching PE and I'm in the gym, okay? That's what I teach. He comes in the morning. We do all kinds of different stuff. And you're talking about a student that was shy, wouldn't go around, wouldn't do stuff. He now goes by the office, checks in at the office every day, asks them how they're doing, comes down, me and him, he's a big weather guy. We check the weather, we read on what's going on with the weather that day because he's scared of storms and he don't like them. Being around that student and the way he presents himself to other students, yeah, I feel like I've helped with that situation. Right now, I'm trying to start a program with our director over there to try to lead him into a job in the school system and maybe start a little system there with those CDC kids where they can get small jobs with us and maybe lead to bigger ones for them later on. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, my first question is number 4. Describe your goals for education in Cumberland County.
Number one goal for education in Cumberland County is to create high school graduates. That's the main thing we're here to do, is create high school graduates. We need to sell them that a high school diploma is a way out of the poverty that some of them are in, and some of them are. We need to show them that what's data says is that if you don't have that high school diploma, then you're going to be in a lower paying job, and you're probably going to be stuck in poverty. What we have to do is create an atmosphere, and this kind of goes along with the next part of that, positive learning would be number 2. Learning is a positive environment. If we create that environment at a younger age and we build it all the way through the high school, we're going to get that graduation rate. I mean, I know your graduation rate's probably good, but you know just as good as I do, you can skew graduation rate however you want to screw graduation rate. I want the kids out. I want them working. Support at an early age is key. We have to care if they learn. Positive people for that. You got to find those positive teachers, get that morale high, and hit our main goal of getting that high school education.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brock.
Hi, Coach.
How you doing?
This is question number 3, if you need to refer to anything.
Yeah, I need to flip for sure.
The question actually asks for the 2 greatest challenges, but I'm going to simplify it. I want to know what the greatest single challenge, in your opinion, that currently face Tennessee school districts, and then how do you plan to meet that one challenge?
Teacher retention and recruitment. I think we're getting ready to hit into a shortage of teachers. I know we're struggling right now where we're at trying to find them. I don't know if you're in that situation. I've tried to find some stuff, but I know you have some retiring. Our system is the same. I think we have to recruit teachers, and we got to keep a thumb on them when they leave here, because your homegrown people's who you want, because they're going to come back. Most of your homegrown people will come back. And when I say we got to keep a thumb on them and track them down, I mean everybody in the system, from board members to director to school bus drivers to everybody has to be on the team. And what we're trying to do there is to get those kids back in here. I mean, we need to be, when they have their college classes where they observe classes and stuff, we need to be, hey, you can come do that here in my class. You can come do that here. That way we get them back in our schools. Help them with teacher licensure, which is it's hard to do. I mean, it's not easy for these kids to get that. We need to help them. We need to be there to help them do anything. You probably got a connection with Tennessee Tech. I don't know. I went to a job fair 4 years ago down there and pulled 3 teachers out, and we still have 2 of them. Again, good school admin will help in recruiting those teachers. If it's a positive atmosphere in that school, teachers are going to want to come there. And teachers have to know that they're supported by their director, by their board members, by their school admin. You have to care. I mean, I know it's a job and you're working with them, but these are the people you're with every day. You have to care about those people. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Question 18.
How important is an organization chart for director of schools?
All right, the organizational chart, it's like a machine, okay? You've got cogs inside that machine. Each position on that chart has to work together. If they're not working together and it's not oiled up good, then we're going to have problems. And that problem is going to affect those kids, okay? And would the organizational chart change? Yes. Your organizational chart, I believe, has to fit your director of schools. Because, he might have a expertise in something, doesn't need I know I'm butchering this, I'm sorry. He doesn't need one position because he's an expertise in that. So what he does is he fixes that cog. All right, and we go with that organizational chart there, and it has to be the right fit, the person that they find for that. Did I answer it, or do you need me to elaborate more?
That's good.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Hamby?
Number 11, what are your strategies for ensuring equal opportunities for all students in Cumberland County?
If they're a student in Cumberland County, they deserve everything we have every day. Characteristics don't really matter. Everything for every student. I don't think that needs to be made complicated. If they're a student in here, whether they're an ESL student, a economically disadvantaged student, white, black, it doesn't matter. If they're in this school system, then we need to give them everything we've got every day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How are you?
Just fine, ma'am.
My question will be number 7. Describe and explain your leadership style and how you believe it can benefit the district.
I believe the biggest positive to my leadership style is adaptability. I can read the room and kind of read the group. You can talk to a group. If I'm here talking to you all, I understand, this half of the board, I can tell them, all right, in this situation, I want you to do A, B, and C, okay? This type of the board, I can come on this side, I say, hey, I want you to do A and B, okay? When I go back to this side, they've completed A, B, and C, and they stopped at A, B, and C. They've still got time left, but you stopped at A, B, and C, okay? I go back over here, and you've done A and B like you were supposed to, but you've done C, D, E, and F, okay? What did this group do? They done exactly what they're told to do, all right? This group led down a totally different path and kept going. You have to be able to adapt to each group and work with each group to get everybody on the same page. And I believe adaptability is the word to use. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Inman, I wanted
Yes.
to point out real quick, he pretty much answered with number 3, number 23 was pretty much answered in that too,
Okay.
if we need to skip that.
Thank you. Mr. Safety?
This is question number 13. What experience do you have in fiscal operations that would aid you in developing and proposing a district budget? And in particular, how familiar are you with the BEP?
The new one that we don't know what is yet?
The old one.
The old one, for the past 8 years, the first 3 of those 8 years, I did the general purpose budget for Scott County Schools, and I did all the federal budgets for Scott County Schools. The past 6 years, we're working on it right now, I am a consultant with that. I am the lady that does that job. I work with her probably 3 to 4 days a week. We go through our budget, what we're going to cut, what we're going to fix, what we're trying to do here, where we off, where we at. So I've been working in budgets for about 8 years. All of them have went through, all of them have been approved. I know the federal one, it usually takes a couple times to get it approved, but it has been approved because it is, it's a buyer.
Well, let me ask a follow-up.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a CFO, a chief financial officer in Scott County?
No, we do not, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Parrish?
Oh, my next question is number 12. Just want to ask, how seriously should our school district take bullying, and what can we do better?
Does bullying exist? Yes, it does. Every day, everywhere. Social media has made it a bear to keep up with, okay? Hard to keep up with. I know the principals at our high schools right now, you can't monitor it. You can't manage it. The only thing I can recommend, and it'll have to be a district-wide thing. You have to train your people, and I'm talking teachers, I'm talking everybody. You have to train them. And we have to get students, and this is students everywhere, some type of conflict resolution strategies. Just some small conflict resolution strategy. Because their biggest thing is they're gonna, right here when they're by themselves, they let it go. Okay? When you're back in public in front of somebody, it's a little different. And ours want to lash out physically. Once they lash out physically, then you've got the mean tweets coming. Then you've got a principal and assistant principals running down mean tweets for 2 to 3 days. You don't get any help from any social media people. They're not helping you anything. Really, you just have to talk to them. And it has to come from teachers. It has to come from everybody. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Hale?
Yes. My second question is number 15. How would you go about determining the current needs and concerns of the district's teachers and non-certified staff?
I think we need to ask them. We come out with a survey that's a real survey. It's not just a check-the-box survey. It's got some open-ended questions on it. That way you really know what they're feeling and what they think. I think this survey needs to be for certain groups. Teachers need to have a survey. Your support staff, your bus drivers, kind of need to gear toward them. That way you really know what they're wanting to ask. And then you break those down, you show them the results. Every person gets those results. That way they get their feelings out and they know they've been heard. And then we develop some kind of plan to fix that with those same people. Let them help you fix that. Because what that does then is it gives them buy-in to your system, and then we start building that team. We have to build the team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my second question is number 16. How would you define the term open door policy, and would you have one?
Define open door policy is ultimate access, 24/7 accessibility. Would I have one? I'm gonna say no, and here's why. You set yourself up for failure, and you set others up for disappointment. Because I can't be available 24/7. If I'm available 24/7 here, then I'm not available 24/7 here. You understand? If I'm working on a situation here, and Miss Boston is mad about something, and she's trying to get in touch with me, then I've disappointed her while I'm still trying to help Mr. South. Now, I would be accessible in multiple ways. I mean, you've got text, you've got cell, you've got email. I don't know if you have a management type system that lets you email inside the management type system. I would also delegate some of these activities. I mean, if Mr. Inman, you're coming in and you got a question about food services. Yeah, I know a little bit about food services, but I need an expert to talk to you about food services. So I would delegate that. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brock?
This is question number 25. State government and special interest groups in recent years have demanded a greater voice in how local school districts function. As our director of schools, how would you respond to those demands?
As far as the state level, I mean, I'm going to know my role. If it's a state level thing, we must follow what the state mandate is, but what we have to figure out is what's most practical for us and how we implement it in our district. I know, you're going to have those mandates, but we need to know what works for us and what works for our kids. And we'll kind of go with it and take it from there and go from there. As far as the local level, I mean, I would work within the policies that you set for me, and I would give my opinion on, certain situations, but the board has the ultimate decision on local stuff like that. Thank you, sir.
Question I have is 19. How do you feel that grade retention impacts student success?
I'm gonna hit this in two parts, okay? I'm gonna hit it at the high school level first. High school level, 9 through 12, secondary. Now, we're talking about failing a class. They're gonna fail the class. We need to try to figure out a way, some kind of way, to remediate that class. We do that some. What we've set into, kind of what we go by is that if they fail that class with a 70 to a 60, then we'll do some remediation in the summer. And if they come to all those sessions in the summer and complete those remediations, then they would get a passing grade in that class. As far as failing a class, they're going to have to repeat it because they have to. Now, if we get to a point where it is multiple, I think the best way and what we've done in Scott County is we have an online that those students will come in, like say I'm still on track in English, but math's what's killing me, and math's what's killing a lot of our students. Then I would go during my math class to the online lab, and I have a teacher in there working with me, and they're trying to get me through the geometry that I failed while I'm still taking. No, I'm not taking. I'm trying to get through the geometry so I'm ready to take the Algebra 2 back on track. Okay. As far as complete grade failures in elementary school, every time a student is retained, their chance for dropout is increased by 50%. That's national data. If that student is a student with disabilities, ESL, poverty student, it jumps to 75%. We have to find a way. And I know that's hard. I know that's hard to find a way. But we have to find a way because we can't keep pulling them back. We got to help them somehow. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Ms. Amby?
Number 10, how can can we better accommodate district parents suffering from economic disadvantage and or disabilities?
I think the first thing we need to do is find out who they are, okay? Find out who those parents are. We get into like this type's conversation with your social agencies and your grant projects, your DCS, your family resource, your courts, your homeless shelters, your food bank. We find out who these people are. Then what we're trying to do then is find out, and what we're trying to do then is we're going to try to partner with those groups that I just mentioned and see what we can do for these parents. Now, I've been the homeless liaison in Scott County. It's hard work to help somebody because they don't want your help, because they think you're meddling in something that's theirs. You have to approach it different. I mean, you have to win them over.
Thank you.
Okay, number 27. What do you believe to be the role of the Board of Education in district leadership as compared to that of the Director of Schools?
Okay, main jobs of the board: hire a director of schools, create policies, and set a budget. Jobs of your directors, that's jobs of the board, I'm sorry. Is hire a director, create policy, and set a budget. Jobs of the director are daily operational practices, implementing policies set by the Board of Education, manage the budget, and manage personnel.
Very nice.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Safety, your third question.
First, I'd like to tell you that I think that our teachers are doing an extraordinary job
Every day.
in their role as teachers for our students. So with that in mind, and you coming from Scott County, I think you're very familiar with this. How should we improve reading competency levels in our district, especially when we know that 70% of our students in the third grade, this is question number 21.
Thank you, sir.
We know that 70% of our students, approximately 70%, are not competent in reading when they exit the third grade. So what have you done correctly in Scott County, and what do you need to improve to make those scores go up?
All right. Here's what I wish they would do in Scott County, but they won't listen to me. Okay? Yeah, you care if I stand up?
Don't mind a bit.
All right. What we have to do to attack this, we have to attack it in bands. Your pre-K 2, your 3-5, then you go 6-8, then you go to your 9-12. By attacking it bands, you have to take those standards. And there's standards, you've seen them, you know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about, standards. They're what you do is this is as a team. And once we get the bands broke down, we need to find experts in these. And your experts, you have them. They're everywhere. They're teachers. And they know what they're doing. We need to take 5 to 7 of those standards, real world standards, okay? The real world standards that they need every day. Now, we're going to teach all standards. I'm not saying don't teach all standards, but I'm saying we have to touch those 5 to 7 in every grade all the time. We have to hammer those standards. These are the building blocks. We start building with that from pre-K. We build it through, okay? With those standards, as we're going through this, I'm going to give you an example, and this is going to come from Algebra 2 on the standard stuff. How many of you all know how to find the vertex of a parabola? I don't have a clue. I'll tell you that. I don't have a clue. Okay? I don't have a clue. Don't have a clue. But, okay, how to find the vertex of a parabola is Algebra 2 standard. Application of real-world skills concepts, Algebra 2. Application of real-world school concepts is division and multiplication.
Yeah,
What standard do we need to teach there? A lot.
division.
It ain't nothing about the parabola, because nobody knows what it is and nobody knows how to find it. It's division and multiplication.
Yeah.
That's how I think we do it. Now, if you don't care, I would like to slide down to question 22 RTI, because it's a big part of this. Because when we slide down to that RTI question, when we get to those and we're looking at those standards and we're having trouble with those standards, we get into this RTI initiative. And when we get into RTI, it's people over the program. We lose ourselves in the programs. Oh, this program's the greatest thing in the world. People. People helping kids is the greatest thing in the world. Okay? And this one touches me a little bit, okay? Because I had a little first grade kid that struggled. I mean, he struggled. He would come to me at the high school. I'd send him down to our English teacher. We'd do sight words. We'd do everything in the world. And he worked. And he worked. And he worked. We got to the point where he was in high school. ACT, awful. Okay? So we went back to work. And we worked. And we worked. And this kid, he's mine. That's why I'm getting a little choked up here. He raised his math score, ACT, he raised it 8 points in 9 months to a 23. He raised his math score 4 points to a 20. He ended up with an overall ACT of a 21, which got him in school. He goes to Mount St. Joseph in Cincinnati where he plays football. He's a starting cornerback on the football team. The reason I'm getting into this is because he called me last week and said, "Hey, Dad," he said, I'm tore up here. I said, why, son? He said, "If I work a little harder here, I can be out of here in 4 years with a master's." So we bust his tail because of people. It wasn't a program, it was people, it was teachers. And we got them everywhere. And all they're asking is somebody for some help. They need help. Hope I answered that, and I'm sorry I got on a rant there.
I appreciate your answer.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Ms. Parrish.
I don't have any more.
I thought you had a third, you had a third question, didn't you?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I already asked that.
Okay, we'll move on. All right, Ms. Hale?
My third question is number 20. How important should career and technical education be in our school district? And what impact should CTE have on graduation readiness in our district?
You done hit me with another one I got a story about.
Yeah.
Career and technical CTE, it's the easiest ways to maximize to get that high school diploma. Because we've got kids that want to work with their hands, want to touch stuff and learn with action, okay? They want to do it. They love to do it. The partners are already there. You've got your TCAT. It's great. There's a way for them to transition right into jobs. Like I said, they're high interest. They're on equal footing as your college, with college readiness when they come out. Just so happens on this one, I got another one. Kid struggled, bombed his ACT, okay? This is my oldest one. Then he finds out he likes working with his hands. He wants to climb highline poles. All right? He's a 5th step lineman right now.
Wow.
Making more money than I made last year.
I'm a lineman.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
My next question was number 22. I believe you've already answered that.
Sorry about that, sir.
No, that's fine. And my son was a telephone lineman as well, and he's proud of the fact that he makes more money than
Yeah.
myself
Mine is too.
and his mama put together.
Yep.
Mr. Brock, we'll go on to you.
You know, I think he already answered this one, but if you would, you could just kind of give a quick summary.
You don't care?
Of
I don't care one bit.
We need to recruit and retain good workers, not just teachers, but
Don't work all over.
all of our support staff. How are we going to do that?
Well, I'd say pay them, but you know that ain't gonna happen. So, here's what's gonna have to happen. We have to create a work environment that they love to come to. And, I mean, I'm gonna hit off on kids just a little bit. We gotta make school fun again, because the adults don't wanna come, and guess what? The kids don't wanna come either. But when we make the work environment where somebody cares about you, you're gonna be there every day. You're gonna be there every day because you feel like it's your duty to get there, to get to these people. Because, I mean, I love going to work every day. I can say that. Now, when I was at the central office, some days I didn't love going to work, okay? But I love going to work every day because the people around me. That's how we have to change it. And it can't just be, you know, the teachers are good. It has to be caring for everybody because everybody's on that team. It just can't be teachers with our kids. It's support staff. It's bus drivers. I do that too. And it's the most rewarding job that I do. I have a very interesting schedule. I'll tell you. I get up in the morning, I go drive a bus. I go to the high school, I teach 2 classes. I go from the high school to the central office where we work on budgets and ESSER and everything else. I leave there at 2:45 and go back and drive the bus home. And I like going to work. Now, one reason why I was doing this, though, is when you leave the central office and you go back to teaching, money goes down too. I mean, couldn't figure that out. But I hope I answered your question, sir.
You have, thank you, sir.
Question 24. It's whirlwind about everything you've already said, so.
Student-centered approach,
Yeah.
that's me. That's what I am here for kids. And while I'm answering this, I want to get into something else if you all don't care now. You've got down there on one of the questions is how visible is your director?
Yeah.
I plan to be everywhere all the time. Okay? And I know it's going to be 12, 14, 15-hour days. I can do it. Because I've been there where you get lost in that office. Okay? And I expect anybody that works for me, they're going to be out in schools too. And I'm not just talking about schools. I'm talking about at the bus garage. We're going to stop in. We're going to check on people. We're going to see how they're doing. If we got some kind of problem with the sewer system somewhere and I just happen to be there, I don't care to help somebody dig a hole. I'm not above it. I won't be above it. I want to be everywhere. And I know you're thinking, oh, this guy's crazy. But the work will get done. But you have to be around the kids. And here's one of my big things. People always tell you, I'm in this for the kids. I'm in this for the kids. Sit around and think about this. Can you name me 10 kids in this system that's not related to you and that don't play ball? Think about that.
Good question.
Think about that. Thank you, sir. Hope I answered.
Thank you.
Ms. Hamby.
Number 26. Will you require district staff to respect members of the board with the questions they may have and requests for information?
This is kind of like that COG and that organizational chart. I think any request for records should go through the director. That way they automatically get to you. I mean, they're going to get to you. If you request them through me, it's my job to get you what you asked for. Okay? Now, this just creates transparency. I mean, if you've asked me, hey, I need this. I need these forms. Then I'm going to get them for you. And I feel like that way, you know, you've got the transparency, and anything else you want me to add to? I mean, I'm just kind of stuck on that one. I'm sorry.
That's good. Thank you.
Okay, number 29. How do you approach difficult decisions?
All right, we get the information. Input from others. I check my goals. I take the time to evaluate the situation with all those components in, and then I make my decision, and I stand by my decision.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Safety, your 4th question.
Well, this is my last question, and I hope you don't mind me being informal with it.
Oh, no, not one bit.
So I'm going to sort of paraphrase the question, and it's how will you as director of schools make us as a board more effective and shine?
Which question was that, sir?
Number 6.
I know I got notes on it. I think if we work within those goals that we set together, that you can shine. And I can too. I mean, that's good. But you have to have the same goals. And got one for you. Coaching football. This is going to bring it back to it. And it'll be short, I promise you. We'd meet on Saturdays and Sundays. And we'd hash out stuff for the next week. And listen, these are people you love and you work with all the time, and you hash stuff out. I mean, it might not be the way I want it. It might not be, but by Sunday evening, we got it hashed out and we got a game plan. Because we have the same goals. And it doesn't matter if everybody agrees in the whole situation or how it happens. It matters that we got there in the end and our goals led us to where we needed to be. So just really being on the same page and sharing those same goals, I think leads us to where we want to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, Ms. Parrish didn't have a fourth question, and so we'll go to Ms. Hale.
He already answered my fourth question about how director of schools could be more visible.
Okay.
So,
All right.
thank you, sir.
All right, then we'll go to my fourth question, and it's number 14. What experiences do you have in dealing with federal programs or ESSER funds? I think you've pretty much answered that already, but
Listen. ESSER, golly. That's and I know you've got about, what, 20-something million in all three of them? It's a lot of money. What's coming after ESSER with all the, where did you spend this? Where did you spend that? It's going to be a bear.
yeah.
It's going to be rough to handle. But as far as, federal budgets, I mean, I've done them. Actually, one of my references on my resume was a lady that got me through. I'm telling you, she worked with me and worked with me and worked with me, and kind of molded me as a federal programs director. I mean, she's great. And now, like I tell her, she's moved on up and can't talk to her no more. But she's a great person.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Brock.
I believe my fourth question was made up on the spot last night.
Yes, it was.
And
It was your ad lib.
I'm sure you've already answered it, but let's go there anyway.
Okay.
Okay. You and I both know, hard to get money.
Yeah.
But we need money. For the programs, our people. How are you going to help us get it?
First, what money are we talking about?
Let's just go local.
Local money?
Yes, sir.
I think you get your local money when they start seeing change. I don't know what they're giving you now, but when they start seeing change, because local people, your people that run your local places have kids in school or have grandkids in school. When a grandkid comes in and say, "Hey, my school's totally changed. My school, we do this at my school. We do this at my school. My school," then at that point we can start approaching. But now look, change is going to take some time. Change just don't happen when you snap your fingers or when you hire somebody. Change is an ongoing process. But I think when they start seeing a little bit of change here and there, that you're going to start seeing a whole lot more money come back into your program.
Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think we've already answered mine.
Okay. You want to move on, Miss Hamby? Yours has already been answered.
Yep.
All right, Miss Boston,
I'm up.
you're up. Okay.
It's number 28. How open will you be in discussing matters of concern with individual board members?
All right. Very open. Discussing anything. Because I want to see different points of view. Okay? I mean, everybody in here will have a different point of view on something. I mean, but, you could agree. They'll agree here, they'll agree there. But there'll be different points of view. I know, believe me, I know that I'm not always right. I'm not right most of the time. That's why I surround myself with smarter people, okay? But those conversations will be open, and as long as it's a discussion time. If it's a call to action, like you want me to do something, then I think everybody needs to be involved, because we're running that machine. And if we're not all involved, that machine can start slowing down, and we don't want that. We want that to keep growing and make it into the school that we want it to be.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, yes, sir, Mr. Safety.
Mr. Brock, if you don't mind, you gave an example of a librarian issue. Would you mind redirecting that question to our candidate?
Certainly.
Here is an example of what educators are going through, and I know
Okay.
from your position, you have witnessed it. We have state legislators who have literally called librarians and other educators terrible names and made awful accusations, and purely for political profit.
Yeah, that's 100% what it is.
And to satisfy some of those special interest groups. What can we do to take care of these people?
At that point, they've attacked part of my team. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm going at it, head on. You have to. I mean, and I know Vince Owens here in Cumberland County. Am I going to win something like that? No, but I'm going to address it, because you have to address it with my board's help and with my board's what's the word I'm looking for? With my board's agreeance that we need to do that, because you can't cast them out. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on in Nashville right now that, I mean, you all read it, you know it. I mean, we're sitting here trying to look at budgets for next year. I mean, you pretty much know what you're getting next year, but the next year, who knows what's going to happen? And it's really, and you're right, it's all politics. It doesn't have anything to do with the why person. The why is the kids, and we've lost that down there, okay? So that's why we got to kind of circle the wagons where we're at, do what we can do, and our people are our people, all right? I think I answered. I hope I did. I hope I didn't go around it. I don't want to go around it. I don't want to go around it.
All right, that exhausts all of our questions. And so you now have 5 minutes to give us a closing statement or discuss any areas that you feel like have not been addressed.
Okay? I got one question for everybody, okay? And I'll start right here and we'll go across, okay? What would be the one issue that you believe needs to be addressed immediately by the new director of schools?
I'm glad you didn't ask the parabolic.
No, but listen, no, because I couldn't answer it.
You know, I have biases, and my bias is our K through 3 reading level. I know that our teachers are doing the best possible job, and yet we still have only 25 to 31% of our students in the 3rd grade have proficiency in reading. So my concern is not what we have to do to our teachers, but what are you going to, as a director of school, how are you going to work with the parents at all levels to create a new program that gets them involved? That's my concern.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Parks. May I repeat the question?
No.
I know.
I don't have one now.
Okay, all right.
Repeat the question, please.
What would be the one issue that you believe needs to be addressed immediately by the new director of school?
I just would want the new director to make sure that, and I think you've answered this several times, to keep the teachers. Without the teachers, we couldn't have school. It's not about the central office. It's not. It's about the teachers. The teachers are in the classroom every day doing their job. I know the principals help them too, but I mean, it's about all the employees that run our schools. It's about the cafeteria workers. It's about the bus drivers. You said you've been one, you've been there, you know that, just to keep that morale up and let them know how important they are and that we appreciate them.
Thank you. Mr. Emmett?
Ditto.
Same
No.
thing?
No, well, mine concerns are a lot like hers and stuff and everything, but my concern is the teachers and the kids. And as long as the director of schools have got the kids first and our faculty and staff next, and then the parents, as long as they're taking care of business in that order, I'm fine. And we have got a great school system, and we've got great teachers, and we've got great administrators. And I expect whoever comes in next to keep it going and keep the morale up.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
sir.
Mr. Inman.
Mr. Burke?
I agree with Ms. Hale, as I've stressed for 4 years now. And I will tell you, I know the answer goes beyond just money. And you did a good job of pointing out that the environment is as much a reason for people to come,
It is.
and it's certainly the major reason for staying, because we can't compensate people at the level that they deserve.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Mr. King?
You're interviewing us as you should. So the questions that we ask, that's my concern. It's all contained in there.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I agree with Mr. King. The questions that we asked, you will find the answers
To everything.
to everything in there. Everybody that knows me, I'm very passionate about children. I'm very passionate about the bullying and the safety. That's my number one, children.
Children.
And it doesn't matter if they're in the public school system or if they are the siblings at home. It doesn't matter where they're at. The children in this county are my number one.
Ms. Ball?
There's so many areas.
Yeah, don't get her started.
But, I mean, I think Anita stated it very well. We wouldn't be here without the children. We wouldn't be here without our staff. We strive every day to make that better. Our administration, how can we make it better? And about the time we climb one mountain,
Yeah.
it's almost like going to the Smokies, there's that one more mountain to climb. And we as a board expect our director of schools to come up with creative, aggressive ways to move this district forward. We will support that, but you have to convince us that that's the way to go. And we're all here for the same reason. I think everybody says we're here for the kids.
Yeah.
But we are. But before this board ever gets to the children, we have to go through administration, policies, budgets, principals, teachers, and then we might, on a very rare day, get to experience a child. And that's difficult when you're here in order to publicly educate these children and make a difference.
Good answer.
If I shut up now, I'll be okay.
You did great, Ms. Poston. You did great.
Got a couple more things, just closing. I really appreciate y'all letting me kind of stumble through. My first big interview, I'll tell you that. But I gotta be who I am, and that's the way I'll be. I just want to give you a couple things, and I know you will after listening to hear. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to say one thing. I appreciate all the jobs that you've done all through the system. And that's really amazing. That shows me that you can work with a lot of people. And with any person. I mean, that really is great.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
And that's coming from a former bus driver for many, many years.
And 16 years Board of Education.
Yep.
But after, I'm just gonna make one statement, and I know you're going to after listening to you. I just urge you to keep your students first. And when you make your decision, that's what you're thinking about, who's gonna be best for your students. And get the right fit for your system. Even if it's not me, get the right fit for your system so they can lead you to where you need to go. Okay, I don't know who that might be me, that may not, but if you get the right fit, I'm happy for you. Thank you all for the time, and I appreciate you interviewing.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
You did a good job.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Owens?
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you happen to know any sextons from Scott County?
A whole bunch of them.
Oneida? Do you happen to know Mr. Patrick?
Yeah, me and Mr. Patrick's best buddies for a long time.
Okay, don't tell him I was here.
I won't tell him. Yeah.
She owes him money.
Yeah.